Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Hey! It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I'd like to announce today that I'm releasing 3 new documents. I worked with the Pentagon this week to remove and redact classified information and prepare these documents for public release. First, I'm releasing a letter that was sent directly to General Flynn on October 8, 2014, from the Office of General Counsel at the Defense Intelligence Agency, his former agency. This letter explicitly warned General Flynn, as he entered retirement, that the Constitution prohibited him from accepting any foreign government payments without advance permission. The Pentagon's warning to General Flynn was bold, italicized, and could not have been clearer. Second, I'm releasing a now unclassified and redacted version of a letter that the Defense Intelligence Agency originally sent to our committee in classified form on April 7, 2017. This new DIA letter counters the suggestion made by General Flynn's attorney on Tuesday that General Flynn followed the appropriate procedures when he accepted foreign funds for his trip to Moscow in 2015 and dined with the Russian President Putin. This new DIA letter states, and let me quote it directly, DIA did not locate any records referring or relating to Lieutenant General Flynn's receipt of money from a foreign source. End of quote. I don't care what his lawyer says. There is no such document saying that he requested permission to get money, to get the money, or a document saying that he received it. It also says this, and I quote, DIA did not locate any records of Lieutenant General Flynn seeking permission or approval for the receipt of money from a foreign source, end of quote. General Flynn's attorneys says he discussed his trip to Moscow with DIA, but we have no evidence, not a shred, that he disclosed his payments.
Yes.
His payments.
Yes.
Which is what the Emoluments Clause is all about.
Yes.
From RT, the Kremlin-backed propaganda outlet.
Exactly.
And we have no evidence, zilch, that he obtained permission from the Secretary of the Army and the Secretary of State to accept any foreign government payments as required by law. Third and finally, today I'm releasing a letter that we received from the Inspector General of the Department of Defense announcing that they, too, are now launching their own investigation of General Flynn.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Whoops. Oops.
I would like to announce today that I'm
you want to hear it
releasing
again?
3 new...
Yeah, it's so good, isn't it? I could play that all day is what I could do. But yeah. All right. Before we get into, Flynn, who is he? When was he fired? Just know this. It's Obama's fault. Okay. It's Obama's fault. It is always Obama's fault. Whatever happened in this world that was bad, it's Obama's fault. And whatever happened in this world that was good, it was some other president that did the good thing. Okay. And Obama did nothing good, only bad. And everything that he did was so bad that Trump is still suffering from it. He inherited a mess, I tell you, including Flynn. Flynn was part of that mess that Trump inherited. So, all right, we'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. But first, I just wanted to say, this has been almost a 100-day stress test. Post-traumatic stress disorder, post-Trump stress disorder, PTSD. And we are all suffering and all dealing, and some of us are dealing really well, and I congratulate you. Others are not dealing very well, and this little opening is for you. I want you to know that we should be very proud of our resistance. Elijah Cummings today. What a great example of resisting. Okay, our civil society is not going quietly into that bad night. There is no way that we are going quietly. Ordinary citizens have been out on the streets in record numbers. The Women's March was the first look at what we were about to embark upon, how we were going to react to it. There were more people on the streets for the Women's March the day after this man's inaugural than there were at this man's inaugural. This got under his skin so badly, good for us, that Sean Spicer was sent out to that very first briefing in that really terrible suit to say this inaugural was the best attended inaugural in the history of inaugurals, period. And we knew what we were in for. But our representatives have been confronted in town hall meeting after town hall meeting. You can now see that they're back, right? You can see they came back on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. And by Thursday, we already have Paul Ryan introducing some crazy amendment, not a new health care law, an amendment to the ACA, giving the states the right to kick you off of your health care plan that provides the essential benefits guaranteed by Obamacare. So, just be very proud of yourselves that you've been in town hall meetings, that you have flooded members of Congress with your phone calls, your emails, your letters. We've organized ourselves into groups. You have the former congressional staffers that formed Indivisible, which has almost, I think it's more than 6,000 chapters now, self-organizing, daily action. You have the energies of millions and millions of people who are not going to sit and watch the destruction of American democracy. Do you know, in one weekend, the ACLU received more donations than it got in 6 years? Yeah, we need that too. We need more donations today than we've gotten in 6 years. That's what we need. Buy a stinking podcast. Go to randyrhodes.com. Support the show. There's a little thing on the top bar. Support the show. But more online contributions that the ACLU received in one weekend than it had gotten in 6 years. Office supply stores are having halcyon days. They're like really enjoying all this because they're selling oak tag. They're selling magic markers. I swear to God, poster boards. People are, using these low-tech tools of peaceful protest, and they are buying this stuff to make, so I want you to know our federal judges, you should be very proud of them in jurisdictions from Massachusetts to the little island in the Pacific. They have put a stop to everything from his unconstitutional travel bans, and they've barred the administration from the penalizing sanctuary cities, reminding him that there are 3 branches of government and he is just one. Okay, so that's really, really good. Judges that are appointed by Democrat and Republican administrations have demonstrated how indispensable they are in our great democracy. So that's a really good one too. Of course, Trump's reaction to everything good is to say bad things about it. So he's threatening to break up the 9th Judicial Circuit. I would like to know how he thinks he's going to go about doing that. But it's interesting that this is his response. Of course, when we protest peacefully, he'll say we are violent, and of course it's not us. But, feel grateful. Just feel really grateful that news like this and programs like this and others, my colleagues, people that I don't feel are my competition at all, but just my colleagues, people who do the same thing that I do, that try every day to bring you the facts, that show you the documents, that, interview people and try to get the truth out to you. We've all been labeled fake news and none of us are giving up. In fact, people like me came back into the mix because of this labeling of, fake news is real and real news is fake, and so the more the merrier. And we have worked endlessly and tirelessly and exposed the lies, exposed the distortions, exposed everything in order to preserve a free press. Be grateful that we have an opposition party. Be grateful that that we will resist all of this maniacal crap. That they deserve it, that Trump deserves it. I mean, from day to day, you never know. So, and be grateful for this, okay? We may lose the 9th Circuit Court. How? I have no earthly idea, neither does he. We may actually end up at war with North Korea, and we may lose the Grand Canyon and Bears Ears Park. But NAFTA stays, ACA stays. The Democrats today said they will not give a continuing resolution. Tomorrow is the day that the government's supposed to shut down. It's also his 100th day. Just coincides that way. And this man with a Republican House, a Republican Senate, he's a Republican, so he says, cannot do anything. Nothing can get done through legislation. It's just unbelievable. And so it looks like the Democrats say no, they will not give him a 1-week continuing resolution to keep this government open because Paul Ryan is trying to attach this amendment on health care into the continuing resolution. And the only thing Democrats will vote for is a clean CR, a clean continuing resolution to keep the government open. That they will do. But they don't want anything added that would hurt anybody who happens to live in a crazy red state that refuses to give them the benefits of a fully legislated, signed by a president law known as the Affordable Care Act. The states will, if Ryan gets his way, the states would be able to throw you into a high-risk pool. High-risk pools are not a new idea. They are an old, stale, failed idea. We had them before the ACA. We had them because people could not get health insurance because of their chronic or pre-existing conditions. And they were allowed to be and were denied health care coverage by health insurance carriers, health insurance corporations, health insurance companies who would cherry pick people and eliminate the sickest people. And so states like California tried, high risk pools. I think they were the first state to try a high risk pool. And you know how they funded it? They funded it with a tobacco tax. Makes sense, right? Yeah, well, it didn't work. It didn't work because it was so expensive and they had to pass the costs on to the people that were getting the coverage. And it ended up costing people $18,000 a year to be in a high risk pool that didn't provide the kind of care that they would normally get with an essential benefits package like hospitalization and prescription drug benefits. Anyway, California was at the forefront of this. It didn't work there. And Ryan's estimate of the population that actually fall into the high risk category is so low, he's lying. Everybody, we have had so many opportunities to look at how many Americans have pre-existing conditions. And it's about 129 million Americans under the age of 65. 20% to 50% have some kind of pre-existing condition, and 20% of them were uninsured. And, as they get older, like if you're 55 to 64, not yet eligible for Medicare, the likelihood of you having a pre-existing condition is 86%. And everybody knows it. Ryan says, oh, it's 1%. 1% of the population has a pre-existing. What fantasy? I don't know what fantasy world they live in, but I will tell you this. By 2000, okay, high-risk pool enrollment, people who were doing it before the ACA, high-risk pool enrollment came to only about 8% of the uninsurable population. Why? Because those plans, placed caps on enrollment. They would only take a handful of people that had pre-existing conditions. That's number one. They were saddled with such high premiums they couldn't even afford to pay for the health care. Austin Fracht, he's a health economist. He actually said the problem was inadequate funding, which prompted states to either place caps on enrollment or saddle members with high sky premiums. We estimated that high risk pool premiums were at least 25% of a family's income. 25% of your income for almost 30% of the medically uninsurable population. That is even when high-risk pool enrollment was possible for a large minority of medically uninsurable individuals. It was unaffordable. California had a pool. If you live there, you might remember it. It was called MIP, Major Risk Medical Insurance Program. In 1990, they started these high-risk pools. So that's what I'm saying. This is a stale, old idea that they tried. They tried to figure out how to get the medically uninsurable as as pronounced by the insurance companies, medically uninsurable, okay? And so they started it with a $30 million budget funded by the tobacco taxes. And that was only enough to enroll 10,000 people out of the 300,000 Californians who qualified for the high-risk pools. By 2009, enrollment was cut back to 7,000 people, and premiums were about 40% higher than market rates for individual policies. And those policies that you could buy had an annual cap, spending cap on your care of $75,000. And they're no better today. Ryan is so full of crap. So just be very proud of the resistance and praise those Democratic lawmakers that hear you, that see you, that understand you, that are still fighting to be obstructionist, to stop this.
Clear for takeoff.
Randi Rhodes Air Force.
Air Force.
RandiRhodes.com.
Go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.